without further ado, welcome to the Opus Magnum 2025 Weeklies. This is week 9 Nylon. This is one of my puzzles. I believe this came about back when there was a period of time when I was playtesting for Haxton's tournament. I wasn't there the whole time because Haxton had quite a few playtesters with quite a few opinions, and I'm an opinionated person, so I'm here like crowding the room a bit with my opinion. So I'm like, let's just take myself out. But before I did that, talking about puzzle design, playtesting Haxton's tournament kind of gave me a brainwave for this puzzle. Yeah, so it was actually in the process of helping Haxton playtest that this puzzle was born. So I'm like, oh, this is a cool and weird and disgusting polymer.
All right. I'm just amused that my tournament there's already 2 puzzles that are directly inspired from my tournament.
That's right. Wasn't the other one also partly? That was Jewel Box, which is the other one. Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah, It was like because I hadn't really designed puzzles for a while before I got the call up from Haxton to help playtest, and that like re-triggered puzzle design brain for the first time in many months. So that's probably why the creative juices just kind of leaked out. So this was a bit of a doozy. So we ended up settling with 2 metrics. One of them was meant to be a doozy, and one of them was not meant to be so much of a doozy. So, you know, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the metrics. Dr. Jekyll was sum 4. Sum, my beloved. Sum 4, so that there isn't any like jank with extra track length at the end, so that you have to program it out to sub 6 products. And HRG, you've all been reported to HR. What that actually means is height with a rate secondary. You usually see height with a cycle secondary, but with the attention that the rate secondary had gotten on the leaderboards, I was keen to let HRG rip for this puzzle after, I think it was Panic who suggested HRG, or Haxton.
It's probably Panic.
Yeah, I think it might have been a Panic suggestion, but I'm glad I did, because this puzzle is a bit of a humdinger for HR. I might have gotten myself reported to HR by a few of the alchemists who tried this metric. Anyway, on that note though, I think we'll do HRG first. So as you can tell by, you know, the output here on my test, on my home puzzle screen background thingy, that it's a 3 height puzzle. It is no shorter than 3 height. It is no taller than 3 height. We'll start on 4 height though. And this is a Weeklies playtest puzzle solution by Haxton. So I'll kick things off. Back when we were thinking maybe we do rate primary, height secondary.
Actually, I completely misread the metric, and I built RH first, so. Because I was like getting back into the weeklies after like hiatus or something.
So I guess this is a good starting point for this is min rate. And it also reminds me, seeing the 2 inputs next to each other, we were umming and ahhing about whether to just have them bonded together or not. We ended up deciding against that. It played nicer for some. I don't think it mattered much for HR in the end, whether they started bonded or not, for, like, as you can see, for obvious reasons. You can just bond them.
Bond them immediately, then, yeah, do things.
Yeah. Oh my god, I was going crazy. I was wondering... I was pressing the wrong button for zoom. I've been trying to zoom this whole time, secretly. Alright, slow down a bit. Just, so you get a couple of funky intermediaries here, even with the extra height to play with. You can see there's still a bit of a challenge here, getting this nasty polymer output bonded together. All the bonds that stick out vertically are irregular, so you can't just throw an angled bonder out way at the end here. No siree, you can get that one off, but that's it. Each of these, that earth and air atom,
any single angled bonder results in a invalid polymer.
Yep. Yeah, literally all possible angled bonder combinations will invalidate your solve. So that earth atom on the top and bottom and the air atom on the top and bottom all have to be sol bonded kind of like beforehand, and you have to find a different way to get them all on together. It's also a nasty polymer shape in general, even without taking that into account, just in general. And the neat thing about this puzzle is that you can break that monomer shape down further into smaller, possibly more convenient shapes. You might see a tringle here, or a 2-stick, or a 3-stick, or a 5 shape. There's a couple of 5 shapes there. There's like this 5 shape, or this 5 shape.
Yes, yes.
Yep, no fixing it in post.
There's a like pseudo number 2. There's like a Z or something. Yeah.
Could have been nasty for area. I actually have a cost tangent I want to go on after the metrics. I'll let you, dear viewers, you are welcome to speculate on cost, but I got a tangent lined up for after we do these metrics. So watch this space. Anyway, enough waffling on my end. Start off in 12th place. Our first 3 height solve comes courtesy of Greenfield. Starting our rate plummet at 53 rate. My god, only 12. Yeah, the turnout was not as high as the last couple of weeks.
Unfortunate.
Surprisingly nasty puzzle I'm taking. I didn't actually think this was that nasty, but it appears to have been that nasty. Solution notes reads, height 3 does not permit a length 2 swing along the height tube, only across it. Very annoying. Yeah, I didn't think it was bad at all for just solve the puzzle solves. It was optimization where it got nastier, but
yes.
Oh yeah, very nasty, but yeah, just solve the puzzle solves, it would have been alright. What Greenfield is referring to is that one thing I kind of like about 4 height is that this is allowed, but because we're in 3 height, it's not allowed. Links 2 arm, you'd really like to swing it that way, right? You can get stuff quicker, you know, to the right quicker. But that swing actually clips a couple of hexes up here, so that's a 4 height swing. You can swing it like this. That's a 3 height swing, but that's not nearly as useful or as fast or as convenient for anyone involved. So swinging is not going to be very powerful in general. The space is simply too restricted for that.
During the like very early in the heights conception, I remember that there being some debates about whether to allow the whether to measure the collision against the atom versus collision against the arm base. So if it was the measure, if we would have measured against the arm base, which is exactly equal as the cabinet wall, then it wouldn't have the same metric.
Yeah, if these were production cabinets, we had the production polymers of my dreams. This would have been allowed. Would have been a functionally different and meaningfully different metric overall. Also, bouncing off Kazian's comment, I always find it funny in hindsight how like people because this is kind of a thing that like my puzzles seem to intimidate people, but like computation puzzles are like not nearly as intimidating. Like people still talk about Critelium like it was like, oh man, you weren't there, man. Critelium, right? That was some shit. But like computation puzzle, like, nah, smash that one out, nice and easy. Fucking computation. I do not get it. Alright. In 11th place, we have the team of Avenged Ruler plus Skyhawk with their new solution 1. Clocking in at 52 rate. Very close.
Exactly 1 rate.
Not big drops yet. Small drops. And we're nearly at the top 10 and the drops are still small, so maybe that will inspire confidence. The spicy computation takes will keep coming until morale improves.
If it is a simple puzzle, people start to think, where's the catch?
Yeah, right. Like, okay, that's too simple. We know there's some bullshit involved. Alright, so I'm genuinely impressed that this solve was like there's a 53 rate and a 52 rate.
Right.
This solve does not come with solution notes. It was very much this was a solve the puzzle in min height solve. I don't think rate was taken into consideration very much here. We are seeing a breaking down of the big monomer into like smaller chunks. You got that. You have a tringle. No, you don't have a tringle. You just have two sticks, a lone air atom,
3, 2, 1,
and then the 3 long stick. This one will be important later. I heard this part of the monomer was the most painful part of the monomer. Wait a minute, what I heard. I know that's the most painful part of the monomer.
Yeah, the three length segment is, yeah. That's the thing that made me give up on Height 3.
What are the beliefs
when I was attempting RH?
What are the beliefs of Zorflaxism? Minus instructions are better than plus instructions. That's a Zorflaxist take. Reset bad. That's also a very Zorflaxian take. Oh, sorry, I saw the minus instructions in the solution and, oh, that's right. I have the minus instruction thing. Awesome. That one 3-atom stick, I hate it. 10 out of 10. Alright. In 10th place, down to our top 10, we have NB Ventus. Better? Question mark asterisk? 32R, lot more of a drop. That's a big drop. We can hang our hat on that drop.
Nice.
Oh, and also computation bad. Yes, that's like that's probably the most Zorflaxian take. Since that's probably like the most contrarian take I got. This is a pretty cool solve, actually. So the bit that caught my eye was there's a few things here that are catching my eye. Cool pivot. We have our first pivot of the week contender there, in my opinion. It won't be our last.
And all the shuffling around, the input suppression, etc. Very area brained, I would say.
So the calcification here is the key. I think for this particular solve, I would refer to it as the bottleneck, since it's in the middle of all the track loops and behind the inputs and is requiring input suppression to get around.
Right.
No pistons in some. No pistons in some is a Zorflex brain take. It shouldn't be a Zorflex brain take. It should just be the collective wisdom, but for some reason that also counts.
No pistons in some is just like is a conjecture. There's a conjecture that no piston in some is optimal.
Yeah, because it's because some theory. I guess I can maybe we'll save the sum theory talk, I guess, for when we're actually doing some, because then it'll be more relevant. But yeah, pistons in some bad, in my opinion. Also, all right, we'll save it for some. The solution notes read, how is my HRG solve better at sum 4 than my sum 4 solve attempts? So we did get that length 2 swing after all that we were talking about. We didn't,
Yep.
So at least the length 2 swing is still being put to good use. Alright. Slowly but surely we're creeping the rate up. In 9th place is a Chinese, I think, name that I'm not going to be able to pronounce. Am I right that that's Chinese? I don't even know. I'm sorry.
It is Chinese.
It is. Okay. All right. I couldn't tell you how to pronounce it. My apologies. All right. 27R. So I'd say now we're approaching the speed at which for the rate to speed up any further, we're going to require increasingly cursed tech. This is a cool layout, by the way, with having this S-tier racetrack track loop completely surrounding both inputs and the calcification perfectly. By Feng Fei Zhui. By Feng Fei Zhui. Oh, tell me if that's even possible. Hopefully.
The Chinese X in Chinese transcription is supposed to be read like she.
So Bai Feng Fei Shui. I did not get solution notes for this solve, so. How did I hit the deadline so soon? I think this was the last solve submitted before the deadline. This is a very, That's a bit of a Cuckoo 52 brained track loop as well, by the way, with the plethora of arms trying to negotiate and grab the atoms and process them out to the bonders as quickly as it possibly can. I'd say the bottleneck here are the arms getting in each other's way more than anything else. And calcification also appears to be a key hurdle here because, again, it is placed behind the inputs. So care has to be taken to get it either through or around the arm bases and input glyphs. Alright, let's continue. In 8th place, Merculius at 26 rate. Slowly but surely getting down there. Whoa. Whoa, that's a long solve. Whoa, that's not validating for a while. But pretty much all the machinery is like right here, so let's let her rip from here. Cycles? Never heard of her.
It's in the ad infinity manifold. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
There was the part where we accidentally set the height metric originally when the puzzle came out to be validated at V. With a rate secondary that was that could have ended badly. Because there is fully just a steady state height metric, which this puzzle, that was the intention. The intention is for the height to just remain at 3 at infinity, and you just have to figure out the rate and get into a steady state. But there would have been the potential for like validating the solve, when it gets there, and then like charging up a full rate machine, and then just like flipping the whole thing over like top-wise around your height tube and get it min rate. And that would have been very funny, but also very jank and very, very unintended. You should have kept it. I wasn't gonna keep it. That was never even a thought. As soon as I heard that was possible, I'm like, get rid of that.
We were the team that was planning to use it.
Well, thank you, Team Genius Crazybot Jamu, for being good sports and bringing it to my attention instead of abusing the jank, because I don't think anyone else noticed that trick or strat throughout the week, or at least no one else told me that they noticed it. The plot thickens. Anyway, this solve makes very economical use of a multi-bonder to get the 2 different monomers, and also has to just get a lone air atom through.
Yeah, the first part, it fits in height 2, so it is somewhat maneuverable within height 3. And then the rest of it is a triangle and the air atom, so it's...
Yeah, and that lone air atom is probably because when getting the little pieces bonded together from the multi-bonder to the other bonding station, you might notice a fair few rotates. And you can see the arms have to do like pivots here and there to get, the swings in, without hitting anything or going outside the 3 height bounding box. And it is quite, it's not a lot of room to spare there. It's a very tight fit, and cycles are being spent just getting these rotations in and making sure nothing collides with arms or, you know, atoms or anything like that. And that involves smaller and smaller chunks of monomer to and more and an increasing amount of those chunks of monomer. So that is the main bottleneck in this particular solve. One thing I was just trying to make sure, really, when when HR was originally being proposed, I just wanted to make sure there were no, like, obvious bottlenecks that kind of, like, capped the rate secondary at, like, oh, you can't go under X rate because, like, you can't output it. Or something, like, really basic like that. And there was nothing like that. So I'm like, alright, cool. Let her rip. So, but with the, also we finally got a validation at cycle 1438. Alright. In 7th place. Nearest Sock Boy. Wait, whoop. At 24 rate.
Who rate better?
2 rate. The drops of
Rate better than-
the drops are still small. So 3-length arm, also bi-arm. A 3-length, length 3 I should say, bi-arm.
When is it ever used the bi-arm? I don't think it ever grabs on the other gripper.
Yeah, this right gripper doesn't actually get used. It's just a bi-arm because it looks cooler.
It's probably a vestigial. It's probably remnant of the previous soul.
That's that one filament tech from that one panic puzzle. It was probably like an idea that Sockboy had. I think Kazan's right. Like an idea that was had in a previous version of this machine. And the idea was no longer needed, and the bi-arm doesn't need to be a bi-arm, but like either it was forgotten about or it looks too cool to get rid of. Alright, so another multi-bonder and more break down the monomer into chunks.
Yeah. So I see that he is dealing with the three long parts that
The 3-stick, yeah.
3 long part, yeah. 2 plus 3 plus the triangle. Oh.
Yeah.
And the 3 stick is passed horizontally, so it fits in the one height, but then it is slow to push it 3 times then.
Yeah, it's very cramped.
Pushing it 3 times then, yeah.
Yeah, because this solve makes the decision to put a calcifier on the top and the bottom. Interesting that 2 calcifiers were needed, and they couldn't, and 1 calcifier couldn't like serve both calcifications. And that cramps up things for that 3-stick, which has to be very carefully moved past the calcifier. That, yeah, like that eats away at your rate. Looks like glanced at Silux away souls and forgore to use the tech. Yeah, there was a, alright, this might be the strat, I should do this. I imagine Silux Away is a name that people are going to be keeping watch for, because Silux Away is probably the community's only HR main. It's awesome that we even have a HR main. Alright. Down to 6th place. We have Mr. Posel at 21 rate.
This is 3 rate better, by the way.
Alright, so that's
from 9th place. So 8th place was 1 rate better. 7th place was 2 rate better. 6th place is 3 rate better.
Alright, so that's an intense looking track
I guess
loop.
that makes them...
Sorry.
No, yeah.
There's definitely the most intense track loop so far.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and I believe, speaking of Silex Away, Jammu has a milk bet. Depending on how well Silex Away does.
What was the exact words of the bet again?
It was something, should I say it?
Let me, should I make this, should I say the, I found the, alright, Crazy Bob already leaked in the chat.
Oh, you may as well, yeah.
Alright.
Oh, there it is in chat. Yeah. So min rate, which is 8 by the way. Min rate 8 out of 8, mate. At 3 height, I'll say this much. Everyone in the Weeklies crew who play tested it was like completely convinced min rate was never happening.
Min rate at 3, yeah.
Yep, at 3 height. A lot of people still are. It's, dare I say it, dubious rate.
Dubious rate.
So this particular solve reminds me of height solves that Mr. Puzzle has done in the past, because I know Mr. Puzzle is a fan of the one height conga line, where you carefully order that one length conga line is like carefully ordered sequence of atoms, so that like the specific combination that you want to build lines up, like the next atom that you want most comes when like in the perfect order, which was pre-planned. So here, that's why the little chunks are being constructed like right near the actual outputting, because it's determined ahead of time. All right, this is going to be the tringle. Let's set up the atoms for the tringle. This one's going to be the 2 stick. This one's going to be the 3 stick. It plays nicely with the multi-bonder and outputting. I will say that. Like, this is a pretty clean execution of the idea.
It is pretty slow, yeah.
Alright. In 5th place, we have Cuckoo 52 at 20 rate. Hang on. The drops are shrinking again. Still haven't had a secondary tie, which I find very amusing. This is actually less intense than the last solve.
Yeah. Well, it has the very similar strategy.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing of have the atoms pre-ordered sequentially so that it plays nicely with the bonders. This is like not very intense track loop at all. And just a few stationary pistons and Bob's your uncle. I'm amused by the idea that gunning for the cursed tech that might have made lower rates possible was too cursed for Cuckoo 52. That's probably not true because that sentence is an oxymoron, too cursed for Cuckoo 52, but one can dream. Alright. In fourth place, Kazian. And this time the rate drops to 14. That's a drop. Now we're cooking something fierce. That is the first time I've had to zoom out all stream. Wait. Well, maybe not the first time, but for like for pure actually useful mechanics. All right, now we get, so it's taken a while, but we have our first scaffolding solve. So instead of making the small chunks, we're done with small chunks. The idea is to put all the 8 atoms together in like a low height, convenient way, and then just like chip away at the shape until it resembles the output, until it becomes the output. You can also handle calcification this way without too much fuss. With with tracks that are as long as possible, because the longer, in this particular solve, the longer the tracks, the better the rate. But there will inevitably be bottlenecks, because this is hard and complicated. And the bonding sequence is pretty cool.
Yep, just a few pistol moves and it's done. It's pretty nice.
So upwards movement, careful use of the debonder, careful use of a bond and debond in the same movement, and then just prepare that swing because the 3 stick has made a return. And that's it. It's a wicked sequence, and the start is, I'm very amused by the tri-arms here at the start. The solution notes read, "This puzzle will take names, and I am one of them." Shame so much time is spent just on Calc 2. A shocking number of solves have had to do the 2 calcifications separately. They, like, unable to just have the one calcifier for both of the atoms that need calcifying per monomer.
So when I made the 4 height rate solve, I just ignored everything, then decided to put the calcifier at the end, and and after looking at the almost finished solve, I realized that there's exactly one place to put the calcifier, and that single calcifier will deal with all 2 atoms that need to be calcified. So that was pretty lucky.
So maybe actually that could be a factor. The fact that like calcification is the one that a lot of people saved to the end because it's the part that perhaps took the least amount of planning, and is hopefully the most flexible part of the construction process.
Yeah.
Calcification RNG. Just let her rip, pray it's not impossible.
But this is HR. There's just not enough space, especially if you're doing conveyors.
All right, we've made it to our podium. In third place, we have Team Genie Jambot 69 at, I believe, 13 rate. Oh, okay. Alright, we're seeing the Mr. Puzzle Snake, I'm calling it. Whoa. That's an intense moment. Alright, so there are 3D bonds made in the one cycle.
Oh.
Alright, so now this 2 height scaffold has to be processed. Oi. Oh, that's pretty cool. Clutch debonder. That is a really cool debond. Because of how it allows for those pivots afterwards.
Yeah. That and it also debonds the exact bond that needs to be debonded from the triangle, so...
Yeah, because you perfectly get the 3-stick, the 2-stick, and the tringle.
Yeah.
Which is what all this bonding, all these zigzag bonds and this particular shape was setting up in the first place. And that works perfectly here with the final bonder too. Ooh. Ooh, that's good stuff. I hear the two calcifications are like right next to each other on the strings, so here it's rather straightforward, so don't have to think too hard about calcification on this solve. Yeah, this solve cooked.
And the two salts are right next to each other, and it still works out because of the final assembly process.
Alright, so there are 2 sets of notes here. I'll try and see if I can find the one that was written up by Jamu. Since I think Jamu was responsible for like most of the solve. Here it is. Very fun puzzle. Had me suffer through like 10 prototypes. Good job, Zorflax. Thank you for this. Embrace Vitae. See, if I had Twitch emotes, they would be all the like Opus Magnum atoms, like stab water or touch earth. Those would be cool Twitch emotes. Sorry, that was just me being going. That was not Jamu. Started off just assembling each part by themselves, getting me 24R. Then further experiment brought it to a 22R, and thought that was practical min. Then stared at other HRG solves for other puzzles. Decided to try bricking the polymer into a 2-height thing. It was hard to implement though, due to the stupid 3-tall air earth air stick and how quote unquote brittle looking this output was. It was nylon after all. Found this weird shape for a brick that had a disassembling method that was only 13R and decided to stick with it. There might be more ways of subdividing the polymer into easy to make chunks that I just did not spot, but this will do for now. I swear if there's a better disassembling method than this, I'm smashing all the transmutation engines everywhere because alchemy is a joke. Edit, thanks CrazyBot for bringing tertiary to 1,000. Period puzzle in disguise, Azuripor. Prediction, 16th place. Your one and only Jammy Jamu Jam Jam, the person who worked on HRG.
That's 13 place. That's 13 place better than prediction.
And the solve is 13R, so maybe there's something to that. The notes that I have in front of me, though, were submitted by a Genius42, who helped a bit further with the cost, which is why you might notice it's under 1,000 G. Genius writes, made a last-minute tertiary gold saving before work. Could not improve upon Jam and CrazyBot's R equals 13, so nearly 12. We all tried so many things. One of the others may re-upload this with more notes, not sure. I gotta go to work now and we'll miss stream. Cry face. Well, we still haven't had a secondary tie yet, so the tertiary did not. The tertiary saves up to this point have not mattered. In second place, Ebenov at 12R.
Still no tie.
Still no secondary tie. And Ebenov thinks the rate can get brought down a bit further here. Also, the length 3 bioarms make a comeback, and this time they are being used properly. Let's slow this. Hang on, let's slow this down. Let's slow this down. All right, let's follow the scaffolding journey because that is. It already starts out pretty complicated.
In the middle, it looks like something from the what was it? It was Kazian's solve.
Pretty complicated, but you can see with that one calcification, that 2-stick looks a bit familiar. You can do the 3-stick and the tringle. There's maybe a tringle, and there's maybe what can be turned into a 3-stick. Let's see. Just a single D-bond and a calcifier. Have to be careful too. Bring it along further. And here, it makes a lot more sense. So, nice piece of tech here, using the previous monomer to keep pushing along the completed output, even with the wrong bonds. So here there are still wrong bonds, and it will not currently validate. But with one choice pivot, suddenly that is a valid output, and the game likes it. Also, yeah, how many sets of biomes is that? 1, 2, 3. 3 different sets of biome track loops.
You know, I've been like kind of out of the loop for about like the height record scene, and this makes sense, but also pretty genius.
It's intense because this is clearly the last few solves in particular have definitely studied the Psy Looks Away playbook. I'll call it on this height rate stuff. And these biome track loops are often a key feature of them, and this all this intense scaffolding and reassembly and like the hunt to find the perfect way to put this all together as fast as possible, rate wise, Also, I just love the way this particular D bond. It actually D bonds the wrong atom at first because like it's an elbow bond. It's already wrong, but like that's some geometric foresight that's really hard to plan out ahead of time. That is kind of it's not kind of, it is genius.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the playbook, though, I know everyone's curious about the next solve, so let me continue on without further ado. Very well deserved first place. Sai looks away. It is min rate. It is min rate, and no one else got even close.
Nice.
Actually, let's Hawkeye this. All right, so that's our scaffold atom. Monomer, not atom. Keep an eye on it. Yeah, it already gets a bit confusing because it's like immediately bonded to the next one, but like it's the same monomer. Yeah, like it's that site's already visually confusing for me. I'm honestly glad you gave it a crack, Biggie. Even if we don't have a solve from you, I'm like genuinely happy you gave it a crack. And also, I would have done 100% the same thing, immediately gun for perfection and like not make it and crash and burn. I feel you hard on that one. Alright. Just subtle debonding, rebonding work here. It all has to be done very piecemeal. That's how you get min rate, essentially, is by doing less work. You only get to do 1, maybe 2 steps before the train keeps chugging, because the train has to keep chugging. Nothing stops this train.
The monomer is exactly 5 tiles wide at the height 2 form, so it doesn't have much. It doesn't have much spare cycles to do something.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of like the design of the monomer. I feel like this monomer was deliberately designed to allow these gaps. See, this arm 12 is currently in a gap, and there's a second gap just like it. You can see that these pistons also make use of it. Just... Oh. Important pivot. Structural change.
The arm 15, yeah.
What about... Oh. Alright, so this bit at the end, this is where it all comes to fruition. Because you might notice it's starting to resemble something more and more like the chunks. There's the tringle at the front. Tringle at the front. There's definitely a 2-stick somewhere in there, and a 3-stick. But where are they exactly? Alright, so you get the tringle in first. And, oh, look at that. The arm from the previous monomer, I think. Yeah, the arm from the previous monomer comes back. Clutches up.
And generates the 3-stick from nothing.
From nothing. From seemingly thin air. So it's there was never the 3-stick here because the missing atom was on the next monomer over.
Yeah. Until the very final assembly, it doesn't look anything close to it. The only reason that,
At no point did it ever even look close up until maybe this point. And then suddenly it all just clicks immediately. And it's only, oh god, there's like so many steps like contained within like 3 or 4 cycles here. Just like the carefully placed debonders and that very astutely placed, angled bonder. Because we were talking about how you can't put angled bonders at the end here. But that's because this final upwards movement here on the track is why you can get away with this angled bonder. Because there's the other angle on the top. And very pointed debond, and it only moves up afterwards. So there is no wrong bond. Syrup mentioned. Oh, he absolutely built that ending first. That was the first thing that was figured out. It was like, do the ending first and work backwards from there. Even other solves, I feel like definitely also Kazian's solve looked like it had the ending figured out first. Jamu's, hell, probably also Ebenov's looked like they had the ending figured out first. They probably, not all of them, probably, I don't know how they were figured out, but I can confirm this one had the ending figured out first. Just watch that whole thing in slow-mo for like a solid 5 minutes and like it still struggles. I was like still struggling to keep up, and here it is at full speed. Like just insane that the rate got down this low. Anyway, solution notes, because I'm pretty sure Sight Looks Away was very justifiably confident. So we have a lot of notes here to read. I'm gonna go back here. Well, I'll zoom out. Silex Away writes, HR and WR are all about solving bottlenecks. Inputting and processing one atom per cycle is easy. I have done worse than that many times. I have no doubt I can turn these two inputs into any shape I can imagine stuffing into the output. So the output is what I began by designing. Can I construct the output fast enough without a track loop? Surely not without a track loop. There is not enough space. Too much throughput and too difficult a bonding pattern. I need a track loop. Track loops are fed with a flat packed monomer and extend it into a full monomer on its outputting side. Some experimentation tells me this monomer requires no less than 3 flat packed molecules bonded together, complicated by the fact that the only safe bonded placement is the horizontal center bond. This approach got me a loop with potentially 13R, and I was preparing to solve for this rate. But then I realized that while bonding is severely limited, there are 2 completely legal debonders on the output side, like you see in this solve. An elbow can be disassembled to build the entire upper or lower row of the monomer. With this approach, I quickly reached the output loop you see here. It is so perfect, surely Zorflax intended this to be possible. I regret to inform you I am not that smart, but I believed, I hoped. I was right to hope too, thank God. I have found some alternatives that may reach this rate, but none is practical. So there were alternatives. This was not the only 8R output that potentially can work. After having thrown together a quick monomer production line to verify the solution, came the difficult work of understanding the finer details of monomer construction. This was a lot of trial and error, for which I was not rewarded much. What you see here is only a medium amount of optimizations upon my second viable layout, despite trying several other viable ones after. I have had a monopoly on this type of track loop based HR solve. And monopolies stifle innovation, so I am very interested in competition for 8R. If anyone else gets 8R, I would not be surprised if they beat me in cost. And wouldn't you know it, no one else even got close. It's talking about people studying the HR playbook. Silux Away wrote the playbook, and there is still a monopoly on it. They still haven't caught up to you, Silux Away. But I really do like that last point about like hoping for more competition and breeding innovation. I'm reminded of all of those years where no one was even close to matching Pentapig on cost area. So yeah, the area secondary on cost. Because Pentapig was like the one, maybe, I think Jinyu was also very good at it at the time, but like no one could keep up with Pentapig for years. And I remember reading through old Pentapig Imgur albums, how he outlined a few of the tricks of GA. And slowly but surely, people got better and better at it, thanks to Pentapig's efforts to like inform the community of like how exactly that was done. And this reminds me of that. And this is my hope for this week and this solve and this puzzle in general, and giving people a crack at HR, that like people kind of key in a bit more into like how this HR stuff is done, and just kind of like admire like because this metric has a lot of depth, and it's very admirable and interesting to look at and to puzzle about. All this stuff's very hard and nuanced, and I'm hoping that this will like help out in the future for this and maybe other area constrained intensive rate metrics.
If you think about it, HC versus HR are two completely different sort of puzzles, metrics.
Yeah, because every time height's done, it's like always the cycle secondary. Don't get me wrong, cycle secondary is awesome for height. There's a reason it was the only secondary for height for years. But this one had been underrated for too long. How many instructions? I'll tell you what, we'll be able to find out not too long from now, because this is technically the first sum solve that I would have to show, so I can just like briefly boot it up. Which takes us to sum. And for this one, I will definitely be able to keep it zoomed in.
Everyone saying on the Discord channel that he should have teamed up with Biggie this week.
And the solution parser says 1,026 instructions. Alright, where are we starting though? Perhaps this solve? This solve. Alright, so more submitters for some. Some is easily the more approachable of the two metrics. At 15th place, 933. Did I... Oops. Never mind. Cuckoo52, you are shockingly not the only person with that problem. Oh yeah, Yosh. I was very much not interested in not looping solves like for either metric at all. Like, I don't know, something about polymer jank and like non-looping abuse. Like, I've never liked all that much about like, just about the polymer genre of Opus Magnum puzzle. Oh, this solve reminds me of my other sum heuristic. So I mentioned no pistons. My other sum heuristic that Goodbye Galaxy has plenty of his own heuristics, and Goodbye Galaxies are more widely accepted than mine I like my heuristics too. I think they should be alongside Goodbye Galaxies. But the other is never use more than 8 arms in a sum solve.
Yeah, that one is also.
I'm looking
I
at
mean, that one is also conjecture, isn't it?
Yeah, it's also conjecture. That one has 0 exceptions as opposed to the no piston rule, which has 1 exception, I think. But yeah, the no more than 8 arms rule, I don't think has an exception unless you like look at fucking Philosopher's Catalyst. And even then, that record got recently broken, and now it's an awesome solve. Thank you, Kazian. You're a legend.
I think there has been some solve that if you include Burlo as arm, then there was 9 arms.
So this was a solve the puzzle solve, with 2 multi-bonders. Extravagant use of cost. I say that as a compliment because it looks this is a very aesthetically pleasing use of multi-bonders, but you are in something of a budget for some, so. Still get input suppression at the start though. Very nice. Alright. 14th place. Oh, it is Cuckoo 52's height solve. Ha ha ha! There was a different solve. Let's see if I can, Anyway, yeah, this would be... Yeah, we've already seen this solve, so, let me see if I can,
Wait a sec.
Nah, whoa, yeah, this is a unseen solve that was submitted for the sum metric, but, I'm just gonna show it. Out of order. Yep, that's certainly a method.
What?
How the hell does it even validate? Hang on.
What the?
It is validating. So if I zoom in, there is nothing that's actually like wrongly bonded. You see like gaps.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's perfectly gapped. Nothing is wrong with that polymer.
All right.
Here, there's something wrong. But nothing wrong. Invalid, amazing. Invalid, wrong, X, hate it, gross. Correct, love it. Nothing wrong with that. Much better.
It's like mode casting a thread of nylon.
That's a good way to put it. Oh, that was a funny solve. Well, that was better than the height solve, in my heart. Next up is, theoretically Haxton's RH solve. After that, though, correct me if I'm wrong, Haxton, but Foves or Foves is a new name, is it not?
Yes.
Hell yeah! Yes. Welcome to the Weeklies.
It's a new name.
Oh, this is a cool looking solve. That's just like min rate with pretty awesome multi-arm rotations and shenanigans. And it solves in 69 cycles. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Why are G and C swapped in the overlay? Oh, they are. Shit. Yup. 69 cost. Ah, what a natural number for cost. Yeah. Tell you what, I can't be bothered fixing that, so just like do a mental swap of cycles and costs. That one's on me. Geikels. Alright. This was a solid debut. Welcome to the Weeklies. There are snacks, and there's a cool Discord. Hope you... There's also a shitpost puzzle coming up in a few weeks, so keep an eye out for that. Next up, in 12th place, we take a 100 or so point drop. Nice natural 181 cost. Sock boy. And this is another height solve. Yeah, I think this is the height solve. Alright. So it's actually an even bigger drop than I was letting on. It's actually a 200 point drop. In 11th place, NB Ventus. And it's another height solve.
This is, I think the height solves are just that the height rate.
Oh yeah, NB
that feel like just better in some ways.
Yeah, NB Ventus literally wrote, "How is my HRG solve better at sum 4 than my sum 4 solve attempts?" So there you go. In 10th place, it's actually a 230 point drop to Mercurius.
It's hard, so I gave up optimizing.
So I can read that solution title normally because I'm in Australia. You're all just gonna have to suffer through upside down text. That's how I read text most of the time because that's how it looks. That's how North American and European and everywhere else text looks. Except for parts of Africa and South America. You're all cool. So most people don't know how to optimize for Geikels. People think it's cycles. Those people are wrong. It's actually very different. It's a much cooler and more awesome metrics. And GOST is also very different.
I mean, CNG practically sounds the same, isn't
it? But you know, weirdly enough, they both balance out to look functionally identical to 2 cycles and cost when in the context of sum. But they're their own metrics. Make no mistake. All right, no solution notes here. Which is sad because they would have been upside down, which would have been perfect for me. So, some here. So we talked about in height, breaking the decision whether or not to break the monomer down into chunks. This solve just doesn't really go for chunks. It just builds the whole monomer in one go, using 2 sticks. The same 2-stick approach that if I had gone with the bonded input, this would have probably been slightly more optimal. And just fixing the bonds and... Sorry.
No.
I was going to say...
notice that... Yeah, every 2-stick has to be reversed in the first half and the second half, so... That's pretty interesting. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's a pretty nice motif for a fix it in post idea, actually. Wonder if it'll pop up again. Alright. In 9th place, we take a drop to 564. Greenfield, who is not a fan of the solve, as you might surmise from the title. Yeah, no, I appreciate the correct format of text, Yosh. And yes, I was low key hoping for bonded 2 atom input because I love 2 atom input. 2 atom input, my beloved. But it was decided that the single inputs just play slightly nicer. I don't think it actually mattered all that much in the end. Right. Another economic use of a multi-bonder, and these are also being bonded in chunks. Seeing the 3 atom stick, the tringle, and the 2 stick. I like the idea of calcifier, not behind the inputs this time, but just next to them. So ARM2 pointedly takes certain atoms to be calcified. In
Alright, thing.
Sorry.
No, just another thing I noticed is that notice while building the raid solve is that you have to calcify 1 air and 1 earth in raid, but this is some, so you can afford to pull more air than earth or vice versa.
Actually, the original reason I split the input into elemental inputs was when I was trying to make cost work, but I'm saving that rant for my cost tangent after some.
Alright.
I want to talk about it. It keeps popping up in my brain, but I'll bite my tongue. In 8th place, at 510 some, we have For You.
Nice.
First hex arm. So the question one has to ask themselves every time some metric pops up is whether or not hex arms are overpowered or overrated.
Yeah, that one too.
That's a Goodbye Galaxy one. I always liked it. It's widely accepted and for good reason. Because this particular puzzle, my theory or conjecture, I should probably say, is that hex arms play very nicely with single atom inputs in particular. So the question of hex arms being potentially maybe overpowered here is a meaningful one. And it plays well into this division. Instead of the 3 stick and 2 stick, it's just like the 5 atom conglomerate and the tringle, and you get this like nice curvature, which is perfect for a hex arm, and you just get like an arm, another arm helping out here. It's all bonded quite nicely. But you see the thing here with this pain in the ass monomer output, all those unique bonds and patterns, it's inspiring a lot of machinery.
Especially since since this is building entire monomer at once, so ARM5 has to be on that long track.
Yeah. How much did I miss? You missed the height metric. You haven't missed too much of some just yet. Note that hex arm on track is the same cost as 2 arms. Number of arms is a generally, like, even without the don't use more than 8 arms conjecture, just the arm count number is something that a sum main will keep a close eye on when optimizing for sum. Next up in 7th I'm sorry. I'll let you go first.
No. I'm just saying that this one has 13 hexes of track, which is 3 arms.
Yeah, but yeah, take away the track. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. In 7th place at 492, the team of Avenged Ruler and Skyhawk. New solution, some fall. Pretty similar cost cycle. Gost Geikel's ratio. To the last solve, actually. A lot of machinery. No Hexon, but even more track, if I'm not mistaken. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah. How much is this?
Yeah, 14 hexes a track. Is this finally a sum puzzle where area matters? The polymer is pretty big. The polymer area itself it's always baked into the area count, so I regret to inform you, area does not matter more than a normal sum puzzle. And that you have to just, like, do other things to try and make area matter. I always thought eye drops of irritation made area matter in a way that I was proud of. Yeah, I think this puzzle is kind of almost like eye drops of irritation in that, like, going from input to output is it because it's like those two puzzles are both pain in the ass bonding puzzles is how I'd put them. Not to insult my own puzzle, but more so to make the point that, like, you know, other puzzles have other things going on, like projection, purification, you know, maybe there's quintessence or animismus, but this is mostly just a bonding puzzle. That doesn't mean it's, like, easy bonding, but, like, because it's only bonding, like, I've gone out of my way to make that part particularly intense. To compensate for the fact that there's no, like, weird glyphs. So, perhaps that kind of puzzle, because that makes the geometry, kind of important, and you're bonding, like, the way you're bonding things together kind of needs to be economical. So, perhaps that makes it matter. That sounds like a pretty flawed conjecture, though, so probably, that one might need a bit more time in the oven. Alright. In 6th place, we take a drop to 466 with Mr. Puzzle.
Almost minus 30.
171 Gost. So the cost takes a plummet. Still a piston, though.
Completely. On a completely different point, the balance-wise than the previous one.
If it wasn't for that one piston. I believe RPO messaged me halfway through the week saying claiming that I was trying to design this puzzle to get a piston into the winning solve. And I told him I was merely testing the faith, and he apparently faltered. He strayed from the path of the sun main and there is a piston in Mr. Puzzle solve. You hate to see it. Okay, but this solve takes a noticeable departure in bonding method. We're just, like, fully focused on chunks. Build the chunk, add the chunk. There we go. Not even a tringle.
This is just advance one tile at a time.
Yep. We don't even get a tringle. It's just 2 sticks, that lone air atom, and the 3 stick. Of course, the trick with this method is that if you're building the different chunks, you do have to build like different shapes with your initial bonder. I can't tell at a glance. Could you use a triangle track for arms 1 and 2 to avoid needing to use a piston? I suspect not, because that would imply that arm 2 would need to move out of the way. And there is a point where it's not doing much. But that point, I mean, it does come right as it's finished doing stuff. So it's a bit hard to tell. I'm going to trust that the answer is no. Otherwise, I'm going to be very disappointed in Mr. Puzzle. But identical sum solution without a piston. Okay, yeah. Okay, so like, oh, so they kept the piston in just for me. Oh, thanks, fellas. Love your work.
All right.
Oh, the other one's submitted? Oh. Hang on, yeah, there it is. Hang on, let's have a look at the better solve. There we go. Now that's a sum solve. Zorflex holding back the tears. No, I'm not. This solve even has a better Critelli. And I'm pretty sure it has more minus instructions than the last solve. Alright. In 5th place, whoa. In 5th place, at 436 sum, Biggie. Dearest Biggie. Alright, so this is a no chunk solution. Just full monomer, pointed hexarm. That hexarm is pretty much there to speed up the solve. Biggie is definitely just determined that it is worth the extra 10G to just get those air atoms in faster, and it looks very well justified to me. Pretty sick bonding method, I gotta say. Nice pivots. Quality pivots.
Yeah. There's a 7-atom completely symmetric chunk hidden inside that shape, which is only connected by single air atom to each other.
Yeah, and you can see it in a different hang on, we never get the right orientation. Yeah, it's like you can see it's oriented differently, but it's buried in there.
Yep.
Oh yeah, also instructions. Good catch. Yeah, hexarms are also cheaper for instructions. Hexarms are slightly better at sum 4 than they are in regular sum.
I'll get away. I need to get away for like 30 seconds.
No, that's cool. I'll hold the fort.
Okay.
Alright, so we'll move on to the next solve, but we won't move past the next solve until Haxton gets back. Doing the little wiggle was same sum. Hell yeah. Wait. Oh, you mean that little wiggle? Oh, okay. Okay, so there was a route without that wiggle, but it probably looked slightly lamer. You know what? Correct decision was made. Okay. In 4th place, at 432, we have Team Genie Jambot 69. And that is cheap. 125, 152.
Up place by only 4 points. All right.
Different point on the frontier. Very cheap. You can, not much machinery happening here at all.
Oh yeah, very, very minimalistic.
More intense X-Arm.
I like how it creates the 3 long stick. It just pulls the.
Does a quick.
It just pushes the air atom into the bonder, and it still perfectly works out because the other atom is getting calcified anyway.
Yeah, because it gives you 2 Earth atoms in a row, but like you don't care because one of them's getting calcified, which is very nice for that hex arm. It makes the whole sequence a lot easier to like not fuck up and be more convenient, and you're not wasting cycles trying to like unscrew the sequence. You can just calcify it and move on with your life. Genie Jambot 69 writes, suspiciously naive sum puzzle. Gonk. Again, if I had Twitch emotes, I'd have Gonk, but alas.
It's a gold atom thonking.
This is like, it's not the most intense sum puzzle, all things considered, because like whether or not you go with chunks or big monomer, both routes, like neither of them are like insanely difficult or harebrained or like difficult to get the geometry right, but there are a lot of approaches to filter out. But, like, none of them are, like, awful. And I figured with HR being such an intense metric, this was good. Like, I thought this would, like, inspire, like, oh yeah, look, heaps of people submitting for sum. This is, like, a nice, easy sum puzzle. And then people can have a crack at HRG, but, like, nah, apparently people still get... Because I know people still get intimidated by sum, even though, like, it's actually really nice to, like, solve for, because you're putting down a few arms and like you never program that much out, like you're only like going out like 20 instructions or so. For me, like I'm talking as a sum mains, because for me it's very like my brain thinks very naturally, but all you programming types need exact numbers to work with, and sum demolishes that notion of perfection and numbers and hitting a clear minimum, and that makes it hard.
That is definitely. Yeah, that's exactly why sum is hard. You put one arm, one bonder on the field, and you suddenly are like overcome with doubt, and you are going to think, what if this is suboptimal?
And you never know. You never know. You could be 3rd, you could be 13th, you could be 23rd. You never know. I remember, like, it was like the first sum solve I ever submitted for a tournament, and I was like convinced I'd get 1st, and it was like 11th. And then there are other times I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to do very good. Like 2nd, 3rd. Speaking of 3rd place, at 423. Goodbye Galaxy.
Oh.
Very balanced Ghost Geikels. Almost the same exact number, matter of fact. Zorflex hates theory. True. I play Opus Magnum to suffer, and you want me to have fun? Ugh. Ugh.
This reminds me of Biggie's Soul, but this uses one more bonder. Like this uses the same amount of bonder, but somehow it is better.
I'm a fan of the pivots. Not only because it's like clearly like the original intention is for like to get the calcifier on, because like both calcified atoms are next to that earth atom, but then it just like snakes on an air atom like kind of perfectly. Bonds before the final two atoms are even placed on. Also, that is Critelli of the week. That is an immaculate Critelli.
Definitely.
Sometimes you have to put Critelli in the hole. Sometimes it's too perfect to resist. This is one of those times. Yeah, this solve I'm a particularly big fan of. Not only that very pointed pivot, but also the initial bonder placements. Because they do play perfectly. It's very natural bonder placements because of the shape of the output. Considering it is symmetrical top-wise. I think I'm saying that right. Goodbye Galaxy writes in the solution notes. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Alright, so no chunks here. This was monomer. This is just full monomer. Keep that in mind. In second place, at 421, Kazian. Some likes pivots. That is 105G. That is cheap. That is extremely cheap.
There's barely anything there.
This is probably exactly what I imagine Goodbye Galaxy had in mind when he said he thought chunks was going to be more convenient. Reason being, like, look how little machinery. This is 3 arms and 3 hexes a track. Couple bonders, 1 calcifier. That is it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not fast because it doesn't need to be when you're that cheap. You get a few extra cycles as a treat. Yeah, no, I like how it does input suppression once, and then for the second calcifier, just can't be bothered really. We're just gonna go we're just gonna go around. We have time to go around once. Can't be bothered setting up the input suppression twice. Too much work. I'm going around. It's Geikels. I'm sorry. My bad. Geikels. I need to adjust. Force a habit. I'm used to saying cycles, but it's Geikels and Ghost. Low arm count does also usually mean low instructions, even if they are all single arms with full instruction tapes. There are only 3 of them. So it's kind of like a natural lowering of the instruction count. We do have one more solve though. In first place, at 417, congratulations, Ebenov. More expensive, faster, but less instructions. So, yeah, fair play. And RPO did call it. 4 arms was the way. Interesting.
Okay, so
Oh, never mind.
almost every save comes from the less instructions. All right.
So of the top 5 solves, it may not look like it, but this has the joint lowest area count. This actually had the same area count as Kazian's. It looks way bigger than Kazian's. It is the same area count. Because this arm 3 comes in, and arm 2 also doesn't length to 3, but arm 3 comes in hot here with a big old swing, but it is all covered by that track already. A lot of used hexes and used swings here are all like in the same little bubble here. So it does not use nearly as much area as you think. And the speed means it uses less instructions than you think. This is also only Biggie's solve was faster out of amongst the top 5, which is not surprised because Biggie has like a particular flavor of sum solve where her sum solves are always really fast. It's like an ongoing trend. Just like Biggie's sum solves are fast. That's just like she has a style of sum solve, and it's cool that she has her own style of sum solve, genuinely, because like Opus Magnum's all about, you know, style and ways we think about the puzzle and self-expression, all that. And Ebenov's is that fast. Only 2 cycles slower. Can you check for me if arm 4 can be a piston? Just for you, RPO.
No, it can't. It collides with 1.
Like here, like on this hex, you mean?
Like if arm 4 has to, like arm 4 turns into piston, so it can extend to push the.
It would slow down the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there would have to be an extra pivot before it moves down. And so arm 1 has to wait, and just like everything else would have to wait. So it could be done, but you would like, it would cost you cycles. I just love how quickly everything moves on to the second bonder right after the first bonder. It's very cool sequencing in that, like, you know, that 2 stick, it just needs like a couple cycles. The 3 stick, 1 cycle. The Tringle, 1 cycle, and it's immediately on.
Oh yeah.
So that's actually doing a lot to get this sped up, and is a big part of the reason why this won. So that's good geometry. Alright. Now, before I allow myself to go on my cost tangent, Haxton, could you do me a solid and send me, or I'll let you just like make the puzzle go live public, and then I'll just like download it publicly. So for those of you who can't be bothered speed solving, I'll reveal it on stream, but speed solvers pretty much get at the ready. you'll be self-discovering.
All right, puzzle goes live in 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh my god. I had a pop-up so I can... Alright, there it is. It's called Recipe for Disaster. Lex C! Oh, boy! The other metric is area. Oh. Alright.
To reiterate, the lexicographic cycles, short is lex C. It is cycles to first output, ties broken by cycles to second output, ties broken by, etc., etc.
Oh, that's such a sus combo of in regards to like C and how it plays with that output input combination. Oh, I'm scared.
This one has been prepared. This one has been prepared by GUI, which is in the Weeklies team.
Thank you, Goey. Genuinely. You know what? I'm sure no one will use the multi-bonder. There we go. Area being the other metric. Oh. Oh. Alright, personally, I don't think I've got the stomach for Lex C. Without more free time. If I didn't have work next week, I'd probably give Lex C a crack, but I do, so. Even then, though, I reckon I might still give area a crack. Yeah, my area brain is triggering a lot more comfortably than my Lex C brain, which I definitely have one of those. Trust. Lex C, secondary cost, tertiary, area, secondary instructions. Oh. You know what? Maybe there won't be waste. Oh, there is waste. Whoa, but it's reusable. Oh. You know what? I don't think it's just like forced like waste storage like that one Bist puzzle, so yeah, okay. Oh, that's hard though. Puzzle brought to you by GUI. Okay, before I do showcase, I was really hoping to do cost for this puzzle. Now,
The cost tangent.
my cost tangent, it's time for my cost tangent. So, I was trying to make it work, but this is a hard output. So, I was thinking and like try as I might, I just couldn't like get the thing bonded together even once, like just as a monomer. So I had the thought, what if I make it like a simpler output? What if I do this? Now, I beat up that puzzle. Suddenly the bonds, that's regular. Now, if I ran this for like some, it would have been way too trivially easy because now there is like a half monomer shape. That four atom, that's way too convenient. Now, I'm looking at these. Input output combination. So for some, so for cost, I was hoping to get like a single. I wanted 40G to be possible. That's an arm, a bonder, and a calcifier somewhere. I wanted this to be possible, just somehow. And I thought with this easier output shape, surely now 40G works. And it still doesn't fucking work. And I'm like going crazy because I'm like, what is how is it like, how is it still not working? And it was for an interesting reason, but it meant I couldn't really run cost because then there'd be like a track but like this is too easy. Like the second it'd be a very like there'd be like a 5-way tie for first place on secondaries or tertiaries. And as I kept trying and failing to build a single monomer, I found the key roadblock was the Tringle, the humble Tringle, because this is a very Tringle heavy output. There are Tringles here, there are Tringles here, there are Tringles here. Now the thing about Tringles is that they are chiral. So you can just kind of ignore which atom ends up being the salt, because like it's salt, you just calcify it like whenever you want. You can put the fucking calcify here and like wiggle the stick over. So like you don't really care about the calcify. You fix it in post. But because there are two types. You have earth on the top or like earth on the quote-unquote bottom here. So like this 5-atom thing has like 2 different chirally shaped Tringles, and this matters a lot because depending on which of the 2 atoms is closer to this output hex, you can only make one of the Tringles. You can never make the other Tringle, and this actually disproves 40G. I'm not really like explaining this in a theoretically airtight way, but this was like just kind of the conclusion that I'd drawn. And I had found that this argument also works for lubricating filaments. This is one of the puzzles that is believed to be impossible for 40G, but it's not like disproven in a way that's like it's not officially disproven, because like everyone's tried it, everyone's like pretty sure you can't do it, but no one's been able to explain why. And if you have a look, the same exact Tringles, it's chiral. There are 2 chirally. There's one here and there's one here, and they're different chiralities, and it kind of doesn't matter what the middle atom is, except in this case both are the middle atoms at one point. So in one way it doesn't matter, in another it matters even more. And it's the same chirality problem. Now, at the moment, because I'm on stream, this is a bit of a take my word for it situation, but I'm hoping this like triggers people's curiosities and people like kind of have a look and try it and be like, oh yeah, Zorflex is a point, or Zorflex fucked up. Actually, you can do it, because like that would be huge. Either the puzzle gets solved, or I've missed something, or like we can actually finally like put this one to bed. And yeah, that argument works for lubricating filament. Does not work for buoyant cable. You can see no like Tringle chirality here. But hopefully something came out of the fact that I couldn't run cost, because I also kind of was curious about this output shape in general for the puzzle, because that looks cool. That's like a nice regular shape. I just couldn't get it to play well with the metrics. HR probably would have still been very interesting. Some would have been far less interesting, but like most metrics I could think of would have been far less interesting. Maybe area still would have been interesting, but I don't know. We ended up running this puzzle instead, and I kind of liked this version of the puzzle with the chunks idea anyway. It was very interesting and it was spicier. So, there's my cost tangent. 40G. Couldn't do it. Pretty sure it's disproved. And you can see the same... you can see the same Tringle. Yes-ish? Ish. It's not the same exact Tringle for this shape, but it was for the other one.
Like, I can see like how you try to make all the Tringles the same chirality.
Yeah. It's a bit of a weirder situation. The Tringles argument, you need to like extend it for this version, but like it's still impossible. That argument's just not as clean, so this is probably not formally disproven with Tringles, but it's like very similar problems. Okay. That was my tangent. I'm not even sure how many people cared about that tangent, but I cared, and I needed that off my chest. I did it.
I appreciate it. It was like pretty insightful, really. A glimpse into a puzzle builder, a glimpse into the minds of a puzzle builder.
Yeah, that's the kind of like because when you do like a base metric, you do one of the big three. You use cycles, cost, or area. You don't want to like run a oh yeah we've like seen this 10 times already puzzle. There needs to be some like theory and like spice if you're going for like one of the main metrics to like really like set it apart. And sometimes you just get lucky with like lustrous syrup. I remember we got really lucky with that one. And sometimes like I've like carefully orchestrated the chaos. Like Latchhook Fireworks is carefully orchestrated cost chaos. But yeah, that's kind of that was my like train of thought that I was on for way too long. It ended up being the weekly crew that came in clutch for the metrics that we actually ran. GUI in particular was a huge help in some, and after Panic suggested HR, we all just kind of went like, oh yeah, that's a nice idea, and I was very on board. So there we go. Now we'll take a quick break while I get the showcase parser up and running. So you need to go to the bathroom. I say now's the time. Oh, wait. I don't need to. I had it ready ahead of time. Never mind. Sorry. I thought I just kind of assumed I was worsely prepared. That's a word. Worsely. Worsely prepared than I was. Alright. First up, we have a Dark Bricks. It's a couple of speed solves and then another showcase. So... First, we have Dark Brick's speed solve. I believe Dark Brick won the speed solve contest by 1 minute. Pretty tight finish.
I like how he builds the shape, then reborns everything to account. Reborns everything to account for the fact that colors are all wrong.
God damn it! There's no duplicator moment. I had thought about turning duplicator on, but it didn't. I kind of. There's something more pure about it being like just a bonding debonding challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, and our other speed solve, courtesy of Casimir. Oh, completely different speed solve approach. Height was taken into account here.
Kind of sort of 3D printing like approach.
Very 3D printing. Yeah, definitely had a... This looks like a... I reckon if I do this thing with arm 1, the puzzle is solved. I don't care how lame it looks, how hard it is to program, how unoptimal it is. I have found a way that solves the puzzle. And I can turn my brain off and get the thing solved. Which is good speed solving praxis. Casimir writes in the solution notes. It's a reference to the food critic from Ratatouille. So pretend you're hearing that instead of my voice. I do not optimize. I don't iterate. I don't use tech. I don't theorize. I speed solve. And if the puzzle is metric focused, then I don't play. Ratatouille is a really good movie. Oh, what a great movie. I did not do a very good impression of that food critic, though.
It was believable. Don't worry about it.
Ah! No one will mind anyway. And finally, we have a showcase from Greenfield. Rapid Crooks. And this does the two half monomers that would have been a lot more convenient if I ran the other version of the puzzle. Man, Pixar were in their bag back then. Back in the 2000s when they were making like Ratatouille and Up and Wall-E, and these were all back to back. Like, oh, but that was good Pixar. Like, they're not like really. Like, I know they're like. I don't know. I always feel a bit conflicted about like modern Pixar because it's like I see like their movies and it's like I want to give this a chance, but there's just something that isn't there that was definitely there. That's not just me being a boomer, surely. Hopefully. I don't know. Anyway, this is nice and fast and min rate and visually interesting. And I believe that's all we have.
There's a note on it, and there's a Discord image link on the note.
Oh, my bad. There was.
Which like enumerates all possible four atom shapes within Opus Magnum.
Huh. Alright, see, actually, you're right. It's, oh, Haxton has posted it for me. Nice. Thank you, Haxton. The solution notes read, turn 4 of each region into the crooks, air, earth, earth, air, and earth, air, air, earth. Calcify the third element on both of them, so you have air, earth, salt, air, and earth, air, salt, earth. And change the bonds to change the air, earth, salt, air crook into a fork L and the earth, air, salt, earth crook into a worm R. After bonding the fork to the worm and shuffling the last bond, link it up to the rest of the chain. Alchemist Harold Green. And those notes tie into the link that Haxton put in the chat. Good pickup, actually, Haxton. I feel bad for nearly missing that. So we did have that. There was that one tangent where people were trying to name all the 4-atom names. So we have the fork and the crook. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell what to tell. I think this is a crook. Is that? I think. Is this a? No, that's a fork. I think that's a fork.
Yeah,
and that's a crook?
The Y shape is the fork, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's a fork, and that's a crook. And that's an L. Or a 7. I reckon that should be it. That should be called the 7.
The 7 is the crook.
Oh, that's called a crook.
Yeah.
What's that one called? Where you have like the whole triangle and the fourth atom. Is that a flag?
Yeah, that's the flag.
Alright, yeah. That's flag. I can get behind that name. So like that's the crook? Or what's that one?
And if the flag is missing the pole, then it's he calls it the worm.
Oh, that's the worm. I see. Okay, alright, yeah. Alright, yeah. I can see that being a worm. Like, especially if you flipped it 180 degrees. I'm seeing the worm if you did that. Things that we would have put into the wiki if anyone ever put anything into the wiki. One day. Alright, and with that, I believe we can call that, put that one in the bag and call it a stream. That was downright rapid of me. Look at that, 2 hours, 10 minutes. I'm capable of a well-paced stream. Oh, well, thank you, Haxton. Thanks heaps for coming in clutch here, helping me commentate and doing background weekly host shenanigans, helping me out a lot. Thank you to the Weekly crew for helping me bring this puzzle to life and to spring it all on the community. Thanks everyone for solving it and bringing it to light. I thought the solves were awesome, and then there was a lot of like interesting, cool tricks and theory, and I liked all the top solves, and I don't regret. I thought this was a cool puzzle. But next week is obviously going to be a lot last week was spicier. Next week will be spicier, and funnily enough, that probably means that they'll get more submitters. But until then, I couldn't tell you who's hosting next week. It probably might be GUI actually, since this is a GUI puzzle. So until then, I hope you all have a lovely time. I'll see you around.
See you next time.